Okay, here's a good question. I see dependency injection term a lot. What is it even? So, okay, dependency injection. That's totally in line with what I'm talking about and the things I want to cover on the channel. So, it's good to know what a dependency is. Also, you can refer to it as like a collaborator. So when you have a class, let me take this off the screen. Actually, maybe I could pull up Sean's code and I can use that as an example. A dependency of a class. Here we are looking at a game manager here. Let me know if you can all see this. This object right here, you see, it's a serialized field, and it's let's call world. Okay, this is a dependency. We can look, and this isn't the best example because this is, well, I don't know, maybe it is. Basically, a dependency is anything that a class has to work with. So this game manager depends on this object, this game object world, in order to function. And so the reason why I said this might not be the best example is because what you're looking at is pretty cluttered. There's a lot going on right here. But basically, you can say a dependency is anything that a class has to work with, and you know that it has to work with this because you can see it here in its member and as a part of its member variables, its member field variables. A better example might be something more simplistic, like the way that you would typically figure out what a class's dependencies are looking at the constructor. If you don't know what a constructor is, and you might not, because if you're coming into game development and you're using Unity, typically you would create mono behaviors, and mono behaviors don't have constructors. But a class with a constructor is going to reveal what that class's dependencies are, because you know that if it has a constructor that takes in, an int, or for instance, here we have a game object, you know that it explicitly depends on having those objects, because the constructor, the thing that actually builds the class, the thing that you actually have to call to instantiate the class, is telling you you cannot instantiate me, you can't make me without passing in an int, or a game object, like I had said in this example. Now, with mono behaviors, there are no constructors, like I said. So really, the only way to know what your dependencies are by looking at the fields here. So you would look at public fields, and then you would look at serialized fields. If there's a serialized field sitting on a mono behavior, it's pretty safe to say safe to assume that it's going to be a dependency of that class. Now, it's kind of tricky because that's not always the case. And this is kind of where we get into the discussion of things like why singletons are bad, because singletons hide what a class dependencies are. All right, so this is a roundabout way to getting to what is dependency injection. So if you're familiar with a class, a mono behavior that has some sort of field on it, you might, in the awake method, call get component to fill in that dependency. Now, in this case, the class itself is responsible for getting its dependencies. It's saying, hey, I depend on this mono behavior or other script, so I'm going to call find component to go get it myself. Now, if you invert that and say some other class is going to inject or feed or populate that dependency for that class, then what you've done is now that class no longer needs to care or even know how it's getting its dependencies. So in the case of classical programming, where you have a constructor, you don't know, that class doesn't know where it's going to get its dependencies from, and so that's dependency injection. In a nutshell, if a class is responsible for getting its own dependencies, now in a classical coding example, you might see a constructor that has a dependency on something, and what it'll do is it'll new up a new instance of it. See, that's the case where that class is responsible for getting its own dependencies. Now, exposing it on the constructor, or if sometimes you can do things like injections into public fields, which I don't recommend, and I'm not going to get into that. But that's where the dependency injection comes in, and what's called inversion of control, or I forget what inversion of control. I'm live, so and it's 6 in the morning, so I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. But basically, in a nutshell, that's what it is. You're flipping where the dependency comes from, and so that's where you get things like dependency injection frameworks, like Zenject, or Extendject is what it's called now. Um, Basically, those frameworks, what you do is you basically taking all your mono behaviors in your scene, and you're saying, look, those mono behaviors are no longer responsible for calling out and getting their own dependencies. They're not responsible for calling find component, for instance, or even using serialized fields. What a Zenject does is it allows you in one single place. Typically, I mean, that's the happy path. You wire up all the dependencies, so you're creating new objects, creating new instances of things, and you're saying, okay, I want that to go to this mono behavior, I want that to go to this mono behavior. And so when the scene starts, Zenject says, okay, I know there's a whole bunch of objects in the scene. You've told me how you want to fill those dependencies. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go pass those dependencies in. And so that basically is how that works. So hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, it can be a kind of a heavy topic because there's a lot of paths that you can go down in discussing what dependency injection is, like the frameworks and inversion of control. But yeah, hopefully that answered the question. Let me know if you got a follow up there. And I have a whole series on Zenject, and in that series, I do in all my series that I've done in the past, I try to keep it pretty high level. So I do kind of go into what dependency injection is and an inversion of control.
Listen.